Today, August 31st, marks 1 year since I landed in Vancouver, Canada for the purposes of university. So, I want to take this time to talk about the truth about being an African international student. Of course, my experience is limited to Canada because that's the only country I've been in, but I would like to believe that a lot of this would apply to any other country. And yeah, so I'm gonna divide this video into 4 sections where I talk about each in a little bit more depth. Number 1 is race. Growing up in Kenya, race is never something that you have to think about because everyone around you is black as well. So coming here and having to actually adapt to living with people of all races, it was a big change, I didn't think it would be a big deal. I always used to have this mindset that race is just it's just like your gender or something. It's not something important. What matters is what's on the inside. But coming here, I've had to actually come to terms with my race and what does that mean for me? What does that mean for my life? What does that mean for how I carry myself, how I treat others? I've had to factor it in a lot more than I thought I would. And I don't know what possessed me to choose Vancouver because it's one of the cities with the least black people in Canada. So I remember reaching here and I didn't see a black person for I think a full 2 days. And when I finally saw one, it was sort of surreal. This is very weird. It was so weird. And you being in Vancouver and being in a lot of other cities where people tend to go to school or go to work, as a black person, I feel you have to get used to being the only black person or one of few black people in a lot of spaces, whether it's on the bus, it's in the grocery stores, it's in class. You have to just get used to it. And it's not the biggest deal ever, but it definitely takes some adjustment. And you have to, when you're such few black people, it can feel like you all have to be the same or you all have to be a certain type of black person to belong. I definitely did feel this a lot during this past year. I felt like I wasn't enough of a black person because I wasn't, I didn't listen to certain music or I didn't have these amazing outgoing personalities. I thought that I wasn't enough of an African or someone who's worthy of being black or something like that. And so I don't know, it's good to realize that your blackness is not what determines who you are, or it's not it's an important part of who you are, but you don't have to be a certain way to be black. Or if you feel you're not the average black person, you're still black enough, or you're still African enough, or you're still whatever, Kenyan enough, And that's something I definitely had to come to terms with and adjust. The second thing I'd like to talk about in depth is probably the loneliness that comes with being alone in a new country. You have no one basically, you have no friends, you have no family, you have no one, and so it can get really isolating, especially if you're like me and you're an introvert and you sometimes feel socially anxious. It can be really hard to make friends. I remember I don't think I made friends for real till December, and I got here August 31st, so I don't know, 4 months or something, just being alone, eating alone, going to the gym alone, reading alone, going to class alone. It was a really tough thing to deal with, and I had to really come to terms with what I believe in terms of life and in terms of what does this all mean. I'm glad it happened because in January I managed to mend my relationship with God. The loneliness became so much that I just had to come to a place where I was fully broken, to realize that I needed God. And so I thank God for like that experience, but it's a really tough thing. And if you're going through it, like, I would just advise you to like just go through it. Like there are some hard things in life which you just have to go through them, like to know yourself better and to actually know what you like, what you don't like. Because if you wanted to escape the loneliness and just throw yourself at anyone, that wouldn't do you any good and would just delay your growth and delay your journey to find yourself. So what I would advise the most is to just go through it. Like, learn to love your solitude, learn to love what you're doing on your own. Like, obviously try a lot, try and make friends, because you can't live life without friends. You can't live life without like people, human interaction. So put yourself out there, join clubs, get out of the house, do like find people who have the same hobbies as you. But at the end of the day, you won't do all these things and like get rid of the loneliness. Like, the loneliness will have to be there for some time because you have made a big life change. It's not gonna be the same instantly, but it will get better. But that's definitely something that I had to deal with. I'm still dealing with to date. I have very few friends, but it's hard to be alone all the time. It's hard to feel like you're not celebrated or you're not appreciated or you don't matter, but you do, regardless of whether you have friends or not. Like, you have made a big change. You're a really strong person to do this in the first place. And so, yeah, just keep going. The third thing I have to talk about is like the financial anxiety that comes with moving to a first world country from a third world country. So obviously everything is more expensive. Even your basic needs are just going to be like that much more expensive. And I remember first getting here, I would always like convert like the Canadian dollars to Kenyan shillings, and I was you have to like make a budget like seriously and follow it. And you obviously, as a student, you can only earn from like minimum wage jobs, so you're not gonna have that much money left over to do your favorite thing. So you also have to find free hobbies you want to partake in or free activities you want to do, because you're not going to have that much money to go for dinner with your friends every weekend and stuff like that. And yeah, you have to also take care of yourself. Like, you have to eat well, and eating well is expensive. I don't know these people who are always saying that eating well is not expensive. I don't know where they live, but like buying fruits, oh my gosh, don't get me started on the fruits. Buying fruits, vegetables, it's expensive. It is. And even for me, who's trying to like eat to build muscle, it's just a different ball game. But you also have to get into like learning how to build like an investment fund or something. Learning all that as an international student can be so stressful. It can be so overwhelming because you don't know how the country system works. You don't know what resources are available to you. But trust me, there are resources available to you. You can always go to your universities. Like, if they have like a financial office, you can go to any bank and they'll probably answer your questions. You can ask online. There are a lot of resources available to you if you want to start building your wealth and like securing your future in some sort of way. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be $20 a month or something, but it's important to learn how to do that early on. But yeah, lastly, I wanted to talk about the food and culture shock, because that was another big one for me. Of course, going into first year, I was going into a dining hall, so the dining hall is not gonna be the standard of how we judge Canadian food. Like, that's not fair. But even when I did start cooking for myself, like, I never thought eggs could taste bad. Like, I thought eggs were all the same. Like, I just thought they were all the same. But when I tasted Canadian eggs, I was just a bit stunned. I was just a bit shocked, and it was something hard, like, to actually realize that, like, you have to learn how to cook. Like, I always tell Kenyans or my Kenyan friends who like cook, like, you don't know how to cook. Okay, just kidding. But for real, like, Kenyan food is tasty on its own. Like, it's fresh or it's nice. I remember when I went home and I like, my mom bought some broccoli and I ate it. Like, after being here for like a year and then tasting the food, like, I don't know, it was just so different. It was just broccoli. It wasn't even fully cooked. It was like steamed. So it had no additions, but it was just tasty on its own. And I feel like that's how it is with Kenyan food. Like, the stuff is really good on its own, but here everything is so bland. Like, you have to be a top level chef to make that food taste good. And that was hard for me because I'm not that good of a cook. Like, I'm not bad, but I'm just there. So it was a big adjustment, like, to actually know how to cook food so that it tastes good. And the culture shock, oh my gosh, don't get me started. Like, Vancouver especially, not like Canada in general, but Vancouver is actually known as, I think it's like the loneliest city in the world. Like, people just don't really have that sense of community as I'm used to. Like, I love hugs. I love, like, I guess it's just hugs, but I like the community sense of, like, having friends, and, like, you guys are close. You do want to hang out, you do want to see each other, you do want to call each other. I just found that people here are really flaky. Like, you make plans and you never hear from someone again. You have a long conversation with someone, you never hear from them again. Like, it's just kind of, like, not connective. Like, there's no connection as much. And it's just really sad because this is gonna be my life for the next 3 or more years. And I kind of have to adapt. Like, I don't have a choice. And I'm scared that I'm becoming like people here. And that's not a bad thing, because at the end of the day, it's just another culture. I don't want to be one of those people that, like, just thinks my culture is the best. And, like, Kenya is the best for sure. But, like, I don't want to, like, discount the culture here, because as much as they're cold, like, that's their culture. That's how they were raised. And that's not a bad thing. But I just don't want to become like that. And I feel like I'm slowly becoming like that, because the more you get rejected, the more you kind of just don't want to try anymore. And I don't want to do that. I want to always try. I want to always put myself out there. I always want to, like, be there and, like, push people to make plans and all that. But I feel like I'm kind of losing that spark, which is really sad. But that's just the reality of the culture here. It's very hard to adapt to. I bet now you're expecting, like, a summary of how everything got better, and now I'm doing good, and now I'm happy. But the truth is, all these things I still struggle with 1 year later. Like, I have grown, but I am still struggling. I'm still sad a lot. Sometimes I still don't want to be here, but I'm thankful. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be here, and I'm going to make the most of it. So if you want to join me in this journey, if you want to see how I navigate it, if you want to learn how you can navigate it, or generally, if you want to just know how you can live a good lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, happy, and you want to see how I try and do that, then follow me along on this journey. Subscribe, share with your friends, comment, let me know if there's anything you want to see. Let me know if there's anything I can improve on, because this is just my first video, so I'd love a lot of feedback early on. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video next week. Bye.